Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of the viewers from around the world. This is your host Vaibhav for the session of JForex Indicators Explained, where I will be explaining to you one interesting indicator. The name is AROON. It is named after its developer, and this indicator is used to consider the price action data if there has been a formation of higher highs and higher lows. Then we can detect that kind of formation using these indicators plotting, and vice versa if the trend has been bearish and the formation has been of higher lows and lower lows, the lower highs and lower lows, then we can consider these for bearish formation and optimize the entry and exit points in keeping up with the trend. So let us now head to the JForex 4 platform, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the newly released trading platform from the bank. I hope you would have checked it out, and if not, the link is there in the bio. So do download and experience the all new trading platform. Coming to the indicator, here you will find the indicator listed amongst the momentum indicators, or you can do a quick search. Simply type in the spelling of AROON, and here it will appear. First, in this session, we will consider this AROON indicator, and in next session, we will also be considering this oscillator. This is the plotting with the default parameters with 14 as the calculation period. The logic is fairly simple. It simply measures the formation of highs and lows over the given time period horizon, and the reading can be anything between 0 to 100. So the simple interpretation is that if we have AROON up above the AROON down, then that is indicative of the bullish bias, and if we have the AROON down above the AROON up, then that is indicative of bearish sentiments prevailing. And it simply measures the AROON up measures the last high formed during this calculation period. So we have 14 as our calculation period. That means these last 14 hourly candles will be considered, and whatever is the high formed immediate or accordingly, we will see that being reflected in this AROON up indicator. If the current candles high is the highest of these last 14 candles, then it will be showing the result at 100. The output of the AROON up will be at 100. And if we have the low of the current candle as the lowest value of last 14 candles, then the AROON down will be at 0, which is happening in the current candle. And if we go back to the last hourly candle, that was the highest reading for last 14 candles. So we had the AROON up at 100 and AROON down at 7.4, and again prior to that the AROON down was at 0. So this indicator simply measures the recent high and low formation, and if we have the reading above 50, that means that in the given calculation period, for example this time it is the 14, so in last 7 hours the highest high of last 14 hours was formed, and if the reading of the AROON up is below 50, that means it has been more than 7 hours since the formation of the highest value of the 14 candle periods. And same logic is applied for the AROON down also. If we have the reading above 50, that means AROON down was formed within last 7 hours of calculation period. And if we have the AROON down value below below 50 and above 0, in between 0 to 50, then that is indicative of the AROON down showing that the lowest value of last 14 candle periods was formed more than 7 hours back. So this is the indicator gives you a relative idea of what is the near-term trend and what time or how much time has passed since the recent high or recent low was formed, and accordingly you can make your trading assessment. If there has been a strong bullish trend, then you will consider that the higher highs would have formed quite recently, and if the trend is waning, then some time would have passed. And if the trend is now changing to the bearish side, you will see that around down value will shift on the higher side, and it will cross above the AROON up value, and then it will remain that way till the trend changes again. So that's the concept, that's the logic behind this indicator, and it is quite simple to understand and equally easy to implement on the chart as well. So here we have this value of the Euro USD on the hourly candle period, and here if you notice that we saw this indicator giving us the idea that the trend has now changed from bearish to bullish earlier in the day during the start of European trading hours, trading markets, and after that it has been bullish on the upside all the way for the underlying instrument. The Euro USD has kept rising since then with formation of higher highs and higher lows accompanied by that. Prior to that, in the last session, the momentum was bearish, so we had lower values being formed consistently. So we had AROON down above the AROON up, and that remained for some time, and eventually the trend waned, the bearish trend subsided. So we saw these indicator value coming down from 100 to 0 all the way, and then it shifted gears. So this interpretation is kind of simple. We can even use it as a crossover. So whenever we have one AROON up crossing above the AROON down, then that is considered as the trend shifting from bearish to bullish. And when we have the AROON down shifting on the lower side from AROON up, then that is considered the trend changing gears from bullish to bearish. So we have these both the formations in place, and we can utilize these simple crossover structure as a market signal also. Or you can simply consider these two output values of the AROON up and AROON down, and accordingly you can also take the trade while utilizing entry points in accordance with this price structure. So in many ways you can use this indicator, and the interpretation as I tried to explain is kind of simple and easy to implement. Now let us see what we can do with this indicator in terms of customizing it for our requirements. So all we can do is vary its calculation period. If you want the trend to be more reliable, then you can extend this calculation period to say for example 24. Then you will have the price data of last 24 hours being used for determining these calculations, the output values. All right, so here we have these indicator values, AROON up and AROON down. Now showing these crossovers after a fairly long time, as we have used the data of last 24 hours. So the signals are going to be generated a lot less frequently compared to what we were observing when we were using the lower time frame chart of lower time frame for the calculation of the AROON indicator. So now it has shifted to higher data points. You can increase or decrease this simply by opting for this time grid. You can even make it 1 week. So all you need to do is take 120 hours worth of data, and you will have these signals generated quite less infrequently, but of course these signals are likely to be more reliable, but not always, and there will be substantial lag in signal generation and price formation. So we do have to keep that in mind as well when we use larger data points. Now I will restore it back to 14. So we are back to the default setup. Coming to its output, you can style it up. You can go for different color combination if you don't really like this blue and green combination. So all these options are there. If you want it to be more brighter, you can do that. You can go for bright yellow and orange combination. You can opt for different styles, and to keep two of these lines distinguishable from each other, it is better to opt for two different styling options. You can increase or decrease its width as well. Transparency, if you think that it is too prominent on the chart and if you want to keep it simply in the background, you can reduce its prominence as well by opting for lower transparency. We don't really have anything on the level section. Coming to the advanced editing options, we can go for the recalculation on current candle or only once for the given candle period. Also, both ways it will work. Now here what happens is, if we have the calculation on the basis of the closing value and for throughout the calculation period, then this output value will keep fluctuating for the current candle period. But as I change this option to calculate on new candle only, the value will remain fixed, and only when new candle will formed in the next hour, the output value will change. Right? Highlight the time period zone. For the calculation period will be highlighted from this time period zone. Calculate from custom data. Instrument can be anything from the chart, or you can specify it on your own as well. The same thing applies for the candle period also. You can simply use it from the chart, or you can change it and utilize any of these different calculation periods, which will be different from the chart, but plotting will be done regardless. So here the charting is of hourly, but the AROON indicator is being calculated for the 5 minute, and because of that we can't really make sense of it on the hourly time frame. But if I change the chart time frame to 5 minutes, then you will see that this calculation is now making sense perfectly. So this is the way it works. Now coming to the time zone, it can be used from the chart. On shorter period, display values at custom period end or start, middle, or each candle. So you can take any of the option. The spread side can be opted from the chart, or you can specify it, ask or wait. So regardless of what is the charting candle spread side, you will have your own chosen spread side reflected on the output value of the AROON indicator. As we have this indicator to be shown on all the candle periods, it will be plotted. But if I now simply say that this indicator needs to be plotted only on 5 minutes, as on the larger time frame it doesn't really make sense to have the AROON indicator based on 5 minutes to be plotted. If and when I change the calculation period, the indicator won't show up. And the important thing here to remember is that for 15-minute candle period, you can add a different indicator. Suppose if you are working with the combination of different time frames with different indicator, then this feature becomes useful, as you can add another indicator for these 15-minute candles, and then you can tally both of these indicators output and make a formed trading decisions based on that. So it is a very useful property. So guys, that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. Thank you all for joining in. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new price formation, new explanations. Everything will be new, as it will be a new session. So I'm signing off for the day. I'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye.